Hi, in two previous videos I've explained how to make these simple but effective pieces of terrain using the plastic packaging from the Games Workshop starter paint sets and the current pick and mix paint offer, and I promised at the end of the second one that there was a third that I would be looking at, and today that's exactly what I'm going to do. This time what I'm looking at are the boxed character model sets such as these, because each one of them comes with a single sprue packaged in a tray like this. And I'm going to turn this tray into some terrain. Now, in this occasion, there are several different ways I can use it, so I'm going to be looking at each one individually. The first and most obvious means of turning this plastic tray into a terrain piece is going to treat it in exactly the same way as I treated the starter paint set and the pick and mix paint set trays. And as you remember, in those I used the plastic tray as the base for the platform. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. So what I've done is I've cut out a piece of card taken from another of the boxes that these trays actually come in, so that I'm using as much that's provided to me free by Games Workshop as I can, and that's just been cut to the same size as the upper surface of the tray, and I now have a solid platform that I can decorate. Here is the decorated terrain piece, and some of the methods I've used in doing this should be familiar to anyone who's seen the first two of these videos. To start with, the platform itself has been covered in tiles that are simply cardboard cut from another Games Workshop box. I've added a ladder here using some spare parts from Imperial Guard tank kits, and I've also added a couple of the las cannon power packs from Imperial Guard heavy weapons teams at the back, and of course my ever favourite storage tanks from Paint Pots. What I've added that's new to this are these handrails around here and here, and these quite simply are just made from bits of sprue. Now the rails themselves at the top, each of these is a single piece, and they are made from the sprue that actually come in one of the figures boxed in this packaging. It just so happens to be the exact size you need if you just take out all the internal framework and file and sand down all of the ridges and moulding points. Then I've just taken some narrow bits of sprue that I had to hand from other kits and use those to make the vertical supports. And of course, to give it a bit of extra durability, I've mounted it on a balsa wood base and covered that in sand. So this is now ready to be painted, but before I show you that, I'm going to move on to the second of these terrain pieces. The second way of turning one of these plastic trays into some terrain is to take advantage of the indentation that's used to mount the actual sprue the figure comes on. And here I've put a cardboard base at the bottom of this so that I can turn this into something resembling a bunker or a strong point. Now the easiest way to create this bit of card and get it the right size and shape is to simply take the sprue that the figure came in, cut out everything from the middle so that nothing sticks down, and then you can just lay that on a sheet of card and cut around it, and you'll know you've got it the perfect size and shape to fit inside and it won't fall out. Now that I have this, again, I'm going to decorate it. So here is the detailed bunker. Once again, I've stuck it to a balsa wood base that's covered in sand for a bit of extra durability. And in terms of detailing, again, there are cardboard tiles on the inside to break up the flat base. Then around the rim, I've put as many of the sandbags as I could get from Imperial Guard heavy weapon team sprues. And I've also added a searchlight, a heavy stubber, and a few details to the side that I have taken from a tank accessory sprue. So this is now also ready to paint, but once again I've got another way of using these trays that I want to show you, so I'm going to move on to that first. The third way that I'm going to use these plastic trays to make scenery is to create a form of modular cargo container or structure, and for that I need two of them. What I'm going to do is turn one upside down so that I can place them back to back. I can then cover them as I did with the original version, and that will make the basic structure, and I can now add detail to this. And here we have the detailed container, and you'll be able to see I achieved this by adding a secondary panel to the top and then adding further small details in the form of a couple of leftover tiles from the earlier versions of the scenery I did, as well as cutting a hole, putting a bit of sprue in. I want to paint this up. That will represent an air vent fan. The door at the end, I had to cut a hole in the general structure of the container for this because the sides slope slightly. So by cutting this hole, I was unable to insert a flat cardboard panel, which I stuck some more bits of cardboard and some spare hand grips from Imperial Guard tank sprues in to represent the access point. And this is now ready to be painted. I'm not quite done with construction yet though, because there's another version of this I've got to show you. Here I've added a second layer, and I've used this to make a sort of modular building. Again, I cut a hole for where I wanted the door to be, blocked that off with cardboard, and that allowed me to detail it. Then I've just added some little bits of card as window frames and a panel on the roof that I've then decorated with some smaller bits of card and some odds and ends of sprue, and the very top of a paint pot lid that I cut off to provide a sort of domed component. And with all of these assembled, I'm now ready to start painting. And here we have the 4 painted terrain pieces ready to be used in games of Warhammer 40,000. And if I just zoom in on the bunker variant, you can see I've put in a 10-man squad of Imperial Guardsmen to show that you can fit a full squad mounted on 25mm bases just neatly inside one of these. And with that, it brings to an end my little trilogy of Games Workshop Secret Terrain. I hope you found them all useful. Thanks for watching. Bye.